Villains, the bane to every superhero's existence. The reason every hero dons a cape or a mask. Rivals that threaten the fate of the world and the universe. And sometimes friends and allies? If you like unholy alliances, then look no further than the dichotomy between the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. With that being said, here are the 10 best X-Men team-ups with villains. Magneto is the original arch-enemy of the X-Men, and as I touched on a moment ago, he is the leader of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Over the years, Magneto has worked both against and alongside the X-Men, all depending on the circumstances at hand. This inconsistency stems from the fact that Magneto's ultimate goals are the same as the X-Men, which is the preservation of mutant kind. Magneto recently joined forces with Professor X and the X-Men in order to create the mutant nation of Krakoa, where all mutants are welcome. The X-Men have been willingly and unwillingly forced to team up with Apocalypse before. Apocalypse has a long and complicated history in the Marvel Comics universe, as the ancient mutant has been operating for millennia, believing in mutant supremacy and survival of the fittest. Because of these beliefs, Apocalypse doesn't necessarily view the X-Men as his enemies, but as prime examples of exceptional and powerful mutants. On one occasion, Apocalypse teamed up with the X-Men and traveled to the moon in order to save Professor Xavier's life. Mystique is a staple in the X-Men's rogues gallery and has butted heads with the X-Men many times over the decades. As one of Marvel's most prominent shapeshifters, Mystique has lived an unusually long life and has been alive since at least the 19th century. Like most mutant supervillains who are 100 plus years of age, Mystique has fought both with and against the X-Men, depending on the task at hand. In 2005, Mystique did officially join the X-Men, first in disguise, because of course, but then as herself after being uncovered. Staying true to form, Mystique then betrayed the heroes and tried to kill Iceman, who was her boyfriend at the time. Villain's gonna villain, am I right? Much like Apocalypse, who I mentioned a couple entries ago, Exodus is another one of the oldest mutants on Earth. Exodus was born as a 12th century nobleman, and after his powers manifested, Apocalypse enhanced them, all before placing Exodus in a coma for refusing to follow orders. Despite the fact that Exodus has been one of X-Men's most consistent foes, he has been forced to team up with them a time or two. After the events of the Messiah Complex story arc, Exodus even saved Professor X's mind and life. Frederick Dukes is one of the earliest members of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and is known better by his codename, the Blob.
Did you just call me Blob?
Professor X originally tried to recruit the Blob into the X-Men, but Dukes refused. After joining a group called Factor 3 under the guise of the Mutant Master, Blob along with his new team kidnapped the X-Men. Charles Xavier revealed to Blob that Mutant Master was actually using the Factor 3, and then Blob teamed up with the X-Men, yada yada. Why the heck did Blob ever trust the Professor ever again? Emma Frost is one of the world's most powerful telepaths. She is also one of the world's most powerful people as far as status is concerned as well. Frost rose through the ranks of the Hellfire Club, becoming its White Queen. Emma's original group of mutants were called the Hellions, who towed the line of good and evil, but leaned more in the bad guys' direction. After the Hellions were tragically killed off, Emma Frost turned over a new leaf and joined the X-Men. The only non-mutant on our list, Cain Marko would become the unstoppable Juggernaut after coming in contact with the Crimson Gem of Sidorak. Oh, and did I mention he's also Charles Xavier's brother? After years of battling the X-Men and some serious soul-searching, Juggernaut decided he wanted to do better in the world. Joining the X-Men, Juggernaut then infiltrated the newly reformed Brotherhood of Mutants and saved everyone from being transformed into babies. Yes, that's a real thing that happened. Sabretooth is best known as the Joker to Wolverine's Batman, and is a vicious, feline-like mutant who was tortured as a child. Sabretooth became exceptionally violent and eventually found himself working for Mr. Sinister. Although Sabretooth has never really reformed into a good guy per se, Professor X has tried to help the feral mutant along. That being said, Sabretooth has helped save the lives of the likes of Kitty Pryde, Banshee, Emma Frost, and the students of their school. Black Tom's unusual mutant power began as the ability to shoot thermokinetic blasts using wood as a focus. Tom's secondary mutation gave him symbiosis with wood and vegetation. A silly power that should be treated as such, which is why Black Tom appeared as a joke in Deadpool 2. That aside, Black Tom is the brother of the X-Man Banshee, but was a frequent ally of the Juggernaut during his criminal days. After the creation of Krakoa, Tom became a valuable fixture on the island, working alongside Beast and Wolverine as a member of X-Force. Tom's aforementioned secondary mutation allows him to connect with and link himself with Krakoa, a power he uses to feel disturbances on the island. Now I know what you're thinking, but Rogue is an X-Man! And I also know that your keyboard probably hates me right now, but one of the factoids about the X-Men that often goes overlooked is that Rogue was at one point a member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Remember Mystique, who we talked about earlier? Well, Mystique adopted Rogue after she ran away from home as a child, and once her mutant powers manifested, Rogue joined the Brotherhood. During Rogue's time as a villain, she fought against both the X-Men and the Avengers. After she absorbed Ms. Marvel's powers and personality, Rogue sought help from her longtime enemy, Professor X. And that's our list. Did we leave any out? Tell us in the comments section below, and be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss any collective comic content.